Where'll you be going?
Texas?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Go on, make it happen.
And now here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome from the heart of Dripping Springs, Mallett and Michelle. It's me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallett.
Hey, how do you like that new intro, Michelle?
That sounds sexy.
I love
like it.
Yeah, I like the music. I like the way we put that all together. So it is the same show. It's Mallett and Michelle on Dripping Springs, but with a new intro. So because it's 2024. Hallelujah.
Woo.
Are you happy to put 2023 in the
rearview
mirror?
Yes. I mean, that's it's been quite a year. I'm hoping that this year brings much success for everybody.
I
and
hope so, too.
That the price of milk goes down.
I was just going to say that. Can I spend like $50 less at the grocery store at some point this year, please?
Oh, my gosh. I had so many people over the Christmas holidays. I think our grocery bill, no lie, between Costco and H-E-B for the month of December was over $1,500.
Oh, my God. Geez.
Yeah.
Well, it is crazy. Inflation is, I read an article a couple days ago that inflation is starting to trend in the right way, but geez, it's not going to go backwards. It might stop growing, but it's not going to go backwards. But interest rates did trickle down a little bit.
They did.
Hopefully that's going to bring some good things. I think what's going to happen when the real estate market, not a real estate show, but when the real estate market comes back, it's going to come back with a vengeance, man. I think if we get like 5.5% or 5.75% interest rates, we're going to see all those multiple offers and stuff again. That's going to come back real quick.
Maybe this will be the year one of your kids will buy a house too.
Hopefully.
You think
so?
So?
I hope so. Yeah. That's one of the things I want to talk about goals here in a little bit, but that's one of the things I always recommend everybody look at, adding real estate into their investment portfolio if they don't have it there already. But 2024, we still have M. Elliott Studio, great sponsors.
That's right.
Yeah, and Capital Farm Credit. So show brought to you by both of them, and we're happy to have them back on board for 2024.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for believing in us. So we really appreciate it. And the response that we've gotten back from the community has just been unbelievable.
It's been a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
And year 3 for us.
Year 3.
Episode 105. That's crazy.
I know. I thought that, I don't know if you want me to do this now, but I thought I would do a little 2003 recap.
I love it. Let's do it.
So I kind of did some little titles, but our most listened to podcast in 2023, can you guess?
Micah Scott.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That one I've listened to it a couple times, and I've had people reach out to me and tell me that it gets to your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really pulls on your heart.
That one really, I think it left both of us emotionally drained when we walked out of here that day.
He really bared his soul to us, and I think that a lot of people listened and really learned a lot about themselves.
And who he was, because they know him from, Dripping Springs, so they knew who he was. Okay, so the interview the interview I was most nervous about, Jenna Lee Babin.
I was pretty nervous about that one, too.
I was very nervous about it. Just because I think that for me, she's a kind of a media hero. She makes it seem so effortless.
She really does. I watch all of her Instagrams, and she's really a natural at it. I think we're pretty good at it, but she's way better at it.
Oh, gosh. We wing it. We totally wing it.
Yeah, I was nervous for quite a few of them, which was weird. And as soon as they walk in, I'm not nervous. I'm not sure who I'd say my most nervous was. I'm always nervous when the mayor's in here because I know a lot of people listen to that, and I want to make sure we ask good questions.
Yeah, he's
Mayor Bill.
The most informative, and that was Marshall Kirkendall.
Yeah, we had him on twice, and both times we were just captivated the entire time.
He was fun. This one's kind of a twofold: the most family friendly and the most entertaining, and I chalk this up because we got to go visit them at Castor Studios.
Oh, yeah.
Nick and Christina, and it was so much fun. And I just think that what they are doing for the world of children's entertainment is just, it's groundbreaking.
It is.
Considering the world that we're in now, that people are trying so hard to just destroy young minds' lives and indoctrinate them. And their show Gus Plus Us.
Gus Plus Us, we got to watch that, and I got to watch Nick halfway buried into this puppet that they shoot. And it takes them hours and hours and hours to just do minutes of footage for that Gus Plus Us. And it's just fascinating. And they're so talented. And the crew there was 50 people there working on that show.
Yeah. And Cedric, our co-worker, his son was in the Christmas episode that they did. He got to play Joseph.
Yeah. It's very cool. And that's in our little town, Dripping Springs.
In our little town.
Castor Studios.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. Oh, by the way, and then I ran into JP Sears because he was doing his show out of their studio.
Castor Studio for a while.
So I'm trying to get him on the podcast. The most inspirational.
JP, if you're listening.
JP, listen.
Actually, we got his number.
Yeah, I got his number.
If we can get him to respond.
The most inspirational, and that one again was Micah Scott. He won 2 awards. So
I agree with that. If anybody wants to get a flavor for what our show was, that's the one you want to listen to. I think that's what we're trying to get to, is get really to understand people and what makes them tick. And he really just laid it out there.
The most quoted one when we're out, and I was really thinking really hard about this one.
I thought it was Speedo Steve.
Speedo Steve. No, that's on the first. That's in the first year that we did. But the most quoted podcast that people say, "Oh, I didn't know this or that about this person," was Pam Owens.
I know. Yeah, she's really private, but she opened up on the show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a good one.
That was really funny. She never answered that one question about. She said something about a 6-pack of beer and something like that.
Pickup
she never
truck or something.
Yeah,
and
she never answered that one.
That's not for public consumption.
Nope. The most surprising, which I think it surprised both of us, given his age, and he was very well spoken, was Logan Papp, country music singer. He was so well spoken and just
very
well-mannered,
talented, and sang that song Uncle Joe. I listen to that every once in a while. That is really just a great song.
Yeah,
he's very talented.
He's a good kid. The most likely to succeed, I think, because he's kind of already on his way, is Ty Myers.
Yeah,
we just had him on
last week. Yeah, he was fascinating. Just turned 16 years old. Mm-hmm. As mature as any 25-year-old I know, and just headed for the moon. He's going to be big.
That was crazy. And then the most boring was, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't write.
We will never tell. No, I don't think we've had one boring guest on the show.
No. We did have multiple repeat guests. Okay, this was the first year we did it. So we had Mayor Folds, which is wonderful. He wasn't a repeat guest, but Walt Smith, he had given me some information.
That's
I have called him a couple of times for some information. As a matter of fact, Walt, if you're listening, you haven't answered my text about the other information I asked you.
Oh,
so you need to
come on, Walt, get on it.
Joe Hogue.
We had Joe on a couple times.
Hey, I was talking to Joe the other day, and hey guys, Dripping, go out to 12 Fox and give them some love.
Support them.
It was a hard summer for them, and they were hoping to bounce back this fall and winter, and they haven't.
Not business wise, personal wise. They had a hard summer.
Personal and a little business wise, it's been a lot slower than they've hoped. So go out there and give them some love. They do parties out there. They do gatherings. I know we're about to kind of hit some bad weather.
They're really connected in our community.
Yes, and they have covered areas, and they also do the Monday night fireside chats for veterans, for PTSD.
Veterans,
so we had another one, James Fenelon, the author. Did you ever finish his book?
I did. It's fascinating.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. And then, of course...
Angels in the sun.
I thought we had the book right there.
We have it. Angels in the sun. Somewhere here.
And then who just came to visit us last week in the office, just passing by?
Marshall Kirkendall.
And he calls me the what? Do you remember? He calls
the Hammer.
The Hammer.
I'm the Hammer.
No.
Mallett, Hammer.
But
he called you the Hammer. He said, "Hey, Hammer and Mallett."
Hammer and Mallett.
Yeah. Oh, you are the Hammer, Michelle.
Love Marshall.
Yeah.
We need to get him on again. We could probably have him on for a whole 50 episode series, and he'd never cover the same ground twice. I know. He's amazing. And then I think just to kind of wrap up 2023 is just some of the people that we lost here in Dripping Springs. Yeah. We talked about it earlier in the year. Shorty Barnett, he died in February. Yep. Amazing veteran, gave so really much back. Plugged into VFW here. Oh, 100%. Dorian Queller, which he went by, his stage name was Zev. He was a high school student here in Dripping Springs. He also died in February. His father is a famous singer. He was slated to play in March at, I think it was ACL or South by Southwest. Wait, maybe it was South by Southwest. Yeah. And he was tragically killed in a car accident, and the Dripping Springs Skate Park is going to be renamed in his honor.
Him. Yeah, that's great.
Good kid. And then we also lost Haley Hodson. She was killed in a horrible accident in Germany where she was stationed August 1st.
That's right.
Her family have been great contributing members of Dripping Springs, and so she was a life lost way too soon. And then to kind of wrap it up, and I'm sure that we have. If I haven't mentioned the person, it doesn't mean that they're not significant, but her name is Joy Laverne Purcell. She died in July. Her son was the former mayor of Dripping Springs, Todd Purcell.
For a long time.
Long
like
time.
20-something years.
Oh, yeah. And her husband, I guess they moved here back in the 80s. Or early 80s, her and her husband, Bob, and they were one of the founding members of the Founders Day celebration.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I got to meet her a couple times. They owned a ton of real estate here in town, and she was such a character. She was, if you met her, you'd never forget her. She was really, really a neat lady.
Well, she, in her obituary that I found, it says, Joy lived up to her name in so many ways. She was light and laughter. She enjoyed spending time with family, going on walks, spending time near the water, and quite literally climbing mountains. Her life and legacy will live on through those who knew her and continue to love her. So what a beautiful tribute to her.
It is, yeah. We've lost a lot of people here in Dripping Springs in the last year, and that doesn't mean, if we didn't mention them, that doesn't mean that we don't care about them, but these are some people that have really contributed a lot to our community.
Yes, absolutely.
So weird New Year's traditions. This is going to come out on January 2nd.
Yes.
2024.
So we'll try not to talk too loud in case you're hungover from New Year's. Oh, you know what?
Put the drink down.
So you know what I am doing New Year's Eve? I can say it now because it'll pass. I'm actually marrying mutual friends of ours in a surprise wedding.
I know. I can't. We'll have to see how that went by the time this comes out. But that's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm an ordained minister.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. It's going to be a surprise for a lot of the guests that are there. Hopefully everybody stays and is not hammered by the time the wedding happens.
Yeah, I got to have them sober to sign the marriage certificate. Yeah. So,
all right. So weird U.S. New Year's traditions. In Mobile, Alabama, they have the moon pie over Mobile. You ever heard of that?
No, I know that like the moon pies are a big deal, like in East Texas during Mardi Gras, but I don't know.
I guess moon pies originated in Mobile because they lower a 600-pound, 12-foot moon pie from their factory or whatever, and 40,000 people showed up for that last year.
Those are odd tasting, aren't they?
I like moon pies.
Really?
You don't?
They're just like a weird texture marshmallow.
No, I love moon pies.
Yeah.
I try not to eat them too much, but
are you eating sweets again in January?
January is no junk January.
Oh no!
I got to get off. This December just killed me.
What do you consider junk?
Anything that doesn't have some nutritional content.
Oh,
so if it's just empty calories.
Anything I eat.
Pretty much everything you eat is off my menu. Yeah. In Panama City, Florida, they dropped 10,000 beach balls at midnight, the New Year's Eve beach ball drop. And in Port Clinton, Ohio, they have a giant walleye drop. Do you know what a walleye is?
Is it an animal?
It's a fish. This fish, I'm sure it's fake, but it's 600 pounds and 20 feet long, and they drop. Yeah, they're not dropping it literally. It's coming down like the ball in New York City, but
that sounds totally horrific. Yeah,
but at 8 o'clock, if you got little kids, they'll drop a minnow for little kids. So it's not the giant walleye.
Aww.
And I looked to see if there was anything big going on in Dripping Springs for New Year's Eve, and there really wasn't. Hudson's had their house band play, but I don't think there was any fireworks shows, or it was kind of a quiet year, Dripping Springs New Year's Eve, except for all the fireworks that are being shot around in people's backyards everywhere.
Have you heard of the first footing?
No.
So the first footing, it's not like a big or not exclusive to Texas, shall I say, but the tradition is the first footing, the first person to enter a home after midnight brings luck for you for the new year.
Doesn't matter who it is. They all bring luck.
I guess maybe you have to be selective on who walks in the door. Maybe
what if it's a burglar or something? I don't think that brings good luck.
Yeah, no burglars. Or what if it's like your dog?
Unless it's the Hamburglar.
Oh, the Hamburglar.
Yeah, so those are weird traditions. I know that there's a lot of people go in and jump in Barton Springs on New Year's Day.
Yeah?
We might do that.
Do you eat black-eyed peas?
Nope. We don't really have... I hate to say it. I really like New Year's in that you feel like you've turned a page and the new year starts, and you get like a blank canvas, even though it's just another day on the calendar. But I like that, but we generally don't stay up late till midnight. We don't do fireworks. We will probably run, but I think that's a normal run day. So, but I want to talk a little bit about goals for 2024.
Okay.
We've talked about this in the past.
I'm not a big writing down of goals.
I know.
Yeah.
And the thing
that's
about
just me.
But you don't have like the goal. You do have goals, but you don't write them down as sort of benchmarks for your year. I'd like to do this, and then you sort of have that as your goal. Well,
yeah, I kind of I guess bucket list items is what people kind of call. I mean, I kind of have like mental bucket list items, but I don't do a vision board. I don't
do a vision board, but I used to. Well, what brought this up was Gracie mentioned to me this morning. She said, I told her I went to the gym, and she said, it's not New Year's yet, so all the New Year's resolutions people aren't there. I said, no, there was nobody in the gym. She goes, it won't be like that next week. But one of the reasons that people's goals, when they fail their goals, and how many times do people go, in the first 3 weeks in the gym, it's just packed every day, and then you just start seeing less and less people. One of the reasons is they're not specific on their goals.
I think you're going to see less and less people in the gym because there's Ozempic.
Well, that's actually really true, which is sad. You still should go to the gym if you're on Ozempic. But what a lot of people do is when they start out the new year and they say, these are my New Year's resolutions, and they're not specific. Like if you say, I'm going to lose weight. Well, what does that mean? That could mean you lose a pound. It could mean you lose 20 pounds. So if you're going to make a goal, first of all, every one of these goals should be written down. If you don't write it down, it's not really a goal.
Why? Who says that?
I do.
The goal police?
The Mallett says it.
The goal police?
No, because you need to constantly refer to that, because you will forget. As you get really busy and things get chaotic, you'll forget what you had said in the beginning of the year was important to you.
Oh, okay.
And I put mine up on my board, my little bulletin board in front of my desk, and I constantly am referring to that. Okay. And so when things come into your daily schedule, you can look up at that board and go, is this activity going to contribute to what's up on my goal board? And if it doesn't contribute, you might want to say no in some things.
That sounds like a little control freaky. I'm just more organic in that sense.
You know what? That's one of the reasons this show works. You're a little more organic. I'm a little more control freaky. But and so instead of writing down like I want to lose weight or I want to eat less junk food, you should write down I want to lose 5 pounds, because that's quantifiable. And then you know if you've reached the goal or not. Or you, instead of saying I don't want to eat as much junk food, say, I want to cut out M&Ms and chocolate chip cookies for the entire year.
I could do that 100%.
Well, you could do it, yeah. Well, I think what a lot of people think is they're not really in control of that. They like, I'm going to get hungry and there'll be M&Ms and I'll just cave into that. You can control it. You have the power to control what you do with your body, and you can control your brain. A lot of people think they can't. You
know how my brain works? That if you tell me I can't eat it or I shouldn't eat it, then I want it. So if you said,
think about it more?
If you said, Michelle, for the rest of 2024, you cannot have a single radish. You are going to have no radishes. And well,
that's an easily attainable goal.
No, it's not, because now my brain
Do you like
says,
radishes?
No, because now my brain's going to be like, I'm going to go eat some radishes just to. I don't know why I do that.
That's funny. That would be an easy one for me. In my case, the M&Ms and the chocolate chip cookies chocolate is my downfall. But when I decide that I'm not going to do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
I just like around the holidays, everybody's eating that kind of stuff. So you just kind of join in.
Yeah,
you
but
don't want to be the odd man out. But,
yeah, you don't want people to make fun of you behind your back because you're a freak and you won't eat
because you're a
Christmas
control
cookies.
freak. But some of the other things that people can do to reach their goals is you can on your phone or on your computer make your screen. If you said I want to own a second house, I want to have this certain car, and I'm not talking only about material possessions. If you want to fit in a swimsuit that you had when you were in high school or something, take a picture of it, and that way you're constantly reminded that that's something you're focused on.
Or you could just have a cocktail and not care about what you look in the
that
swimsuit.
Would work. A margarita, yeah. Well, a lot of people make these goals though, and then it's sad to me. It's very sad to me to go to the gym and see somebody that's working hard, and then they're there 4 days a week, and then the next week they're there 3 days a week, and then they're there 2 days a week, and then you never see them again. And it's because they don't have a system to keep these things in place.
Do you? Okay, I will agree with you on that as far as the system, but I think that most people don't necessarily have to write something like that down. I think somebody needs to have an accountability partner or something to do it with, because
that's really true.
You know what I hate about
both.
exercising? What I think is the most boring thing about exercising is I don't, and you know this about me, I don't do anything practically the same thing twice. I hardly wear the same outfit twice, unless it's a dress.
Which cracks me up. Yeah, I don't know how you do that. On that $4 an hour. That I pay.
That's right, because I buy dresses that are $9 from China.
Oh, okay, that works.
There's that. But I think that to have somebody that holds you accountable, but the thing that I find most boring about exercise is the fact that if I'm going for a run, that sounds funny, but if I was to go for a run, I'm seeing the same thing like a racetrack. My dad used to run.
No, you got to go someplace new.
So when I went to Europe last year, right, we walked almost 8, 9 miles a day. But because I'm moving, I'm seeing things. So
you're Todd's accountability partner, because when you go travel, you would not let him sit in a hotel room.
No.
You're like, oh, we got to go. We got this planned and that going. We got to be here at 11 o'clock. And you drag him out the door.
So if I was seeing things along the way and talking to people, then when I was walking a lot, I had walking partners. So we would go and we'd walk over by the soccer fields.
Just going to say that if you have a shared goal with somebody, say you want to run a marathon or a 10K or a 5K, or you want to lose weight, find somebody that has a very similar goal and then set a schedule. Like I meet somebody on Tuesdays to swim. I meet somebody to run on Wednesday mornings. I meet somebody to run on Thursdays. We have a standing appointment for all those. I don't check in with those people to say, hey, are you going to be there for the run tomorrow? I know they're going to be there. And the only way that changes is if they get sick or something and they text and say, oh, hey, I can't make it. But otherwise, it's a standing appointment.
You're very committed. Well, you should be committed.
I should be committed.
I've often referred to you like a serial killer habit. You have he gets up, he goes for his run.
That's what works for me.
He eats
60 years I've been doing this.
Spinach and
not anymore.
eggs.
See, I changed it. I don't. I'm doing egg sandwiches now.
Oh, egg sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
I change it up every once in a while.
Look at you.
But, it's important. I think a lot of people need to have some sort of a template for what they think will give them a good year. And
or
I
what
think
works
that's
for
what
them.
I like for, brand new year gives you that a blank page to start with and how you did. And if you want to make goals, I recommend you write them down. There are personalities that don't need to do that, but
Michelle recommends just flying by the seat of your pants.
It works well for you. It doesn't. For a lot of people, they would just fall down on their goals, and that doesn't work for a lot of people. And then they beat themselves up, and then they're.
You know what? I think the difference is I just had this epiphany. I think of goals more of on a macro level, and you think of them more of a micro level.
But I think micro, but my micros get me to the macro. Yeah. Like one of the ones I wanted to point out was everybody should have on their goal board to do something this year to own some sort of investment real estate. Everybody that has wealth in this country, tremendous wealth. Even like Elon Musk, who has made all his money in technology, a lot of his wealth is in real estate.
So I should consider buying some property this year.
Yeah, buy a lot someplace and buy.
Now you can find some really good deals on lots right now.
There's a lot of deals right now. But one of the biggest things you can do is come up with a down payment. It's usually 20% right now for investment property, but come up with a down payment, buy a $400,000 house somewhere. So you'd have to save up $80,000. Save up $80,000. Buy that house, put a tenant in it, so your $80,000 can become an investment worth, by the time you've paid that off, it could be worth $800,000, and you've only invested $80,000 in it, and the tenants have paid for it over time.
There's also creative ways, right, to get
There's all kinds of creative
to get
ways
your
to
down
do it.
payment. You can borrow against your 401k. You can take a HELOC.
Talk to a lender, talk to somebody that specializes in that, but that's the path to wealth. And one of the reasons I want to point this out is there's been a ton of news articles recently about how it's better for a lot of people to rent than it is to own. And whenever I see stories like that, I think, okay, what's the background of that? Why is that story being written? And there are huge, I'm not talking big corporations, I'm talking huge, gigantic corporations in this country right now that are buying up rental homes and apartments, and they want you to rent from them.
They're pushing that narrative.
They're pushing that narrative. And of course, the news outlets, not all of them, but a lot of the news outlets are like, yeah, we'll sign up for that because it gives them more money. Then they spend more money on advertising. So it's this.
You're building their portfolio versus your own.
Right. Why wouldn't you do that for yourself? Everybody should aspire to own property.
I had that conversation, or I'm having that conversation right now with my son who's moving to Wisconsin to start medical school.
Yeah.
So they'll be there 4 years. He'll have the VA loan. And I think their financial advisor suggested that they rent, right? Because of the market. And I was like, that's stupid. You guys, you have a VA loan. You'll have nothing down. You need to, why are you paying someone else's mortgage?
For 4 years, yeah.
Yes, you need to pay.
If it was less than 2, I would say, okay, maybe you shouldn't. But for 4 years, definitely should buy
The biggest
real
thing
estate.
for them
Especially with the market conditions
Yeah.
we have now, because there's a good chance that our market rates are going to dip a little bit and our market's going to take off. So he buys a house there for $300,000. By the time he sells it in 4 years, it could be worth $500,000.
Yeah.
And that's just $200,000 in their
It's
pocket.
what I tried to tell them. I think there's two big concerns that they have. One is they're moving to a cold water climate that they haven't really ever lived in that kind of area and had to take care of. And then while he's in med school, the home ownership aspect. And I said, look, we'll get you a reputable home warranty company, yada, yada, yada. But being so far away from family and, him trying to concentrate on his studies, I get that. But then I also understand, like, look, don't be throwing your money away in that sense.
So if he finds a place and it's $2,500 a month, so it's $30,000 a year, and he's going to be there 4 years, that's $120,000 that he's going to give to some landlord.
To someone else. And so if anybody has any hookups in Milwaukee, let us know.
Yeah, well, we'll find some. We know
That's
some
right.
there. But do you have another story?
No, that was my story. I just kind of did it all on one.
Yeah, you did. You segued right into that. I didn't know exactly where you started and when you left off, but
That's the story of my life.
you fly by the seat of your pants. Well, I'm real excited about 2024. I think that things are going to get a lot better from here. It is going to be an election year, so there is some of the chaos that comes with that, and I would urge everybody out there to be a little bit cautious about everything you read, because I think there's going to be a lot of spin out there right now about, on both sides. Everybody's going to be doing it, but make sure you know what's going on in the country right now. But let's be positive in 2024.
Well, absolutely. And then also, if there are stories that you want us to kind of deep dive on, or people that you would like to hear from or kind of know their story, email us, reach out to us. If you see us out in the community, come up to us. We love that. We have been so surprised of the reception that we've gotten from this podcast. And we are just going to continue to go up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
And we're not going anywhere. We've decided we're not going anywhere anytime soon right now.
Not until I die.
Yeah. Well, you'll still come in.
Yeah. We do. We love hearing from our listeners, Mallett and Michelle at gmail.com. And when you see us out in public, come up and let us know. But yeah, if there's somebody interesting that they don't always necessarily have to be from our community, but we definitely want to know the people that are out there and introduce them to our listeners.
Yeah. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so, so much for listening to us and helping us become, or we are, the #1 Dripping Springs
That's right.
podcast.
It's been a lot of fun.
It's us in the Methodist Church, but thank you so
That's
much.
right. There's 2, and we're in the top 50%.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everybody for listening. We really appreciate it, and we're just excited about 2024. So here we go.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Ready to turn your land dreams into reality? Look no further than Capital Farm Credit.
Need a loan for your perfect piece of land? Capital Farm Credit is there for you.
Their dedicated team will tailor a loan to fit your unique needs because your dreams are their priority.
Capital Farm Credit, your land, your legacy. Visit capitalfarmcredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender. Elevate your living experience with M. Elliott Studio, your trusted partner in interior design, registered and licensed by the state of Texas.
You want your home to reflect your personal style and identity. Investing in a well-crafted design doesn't just beautify your home, it enriches your life.
Team principal and owner, Montana Elliott, understands the profound impact of a thoughtfully designed space. From remodeling to full design, M. Elliott Studio is the first step to unlocking your style.
Turn your aspirations into reality. Tailored to your taste and desires, M. Elliott Studio will work to create an environment that embraces your style with style.
Your space, their expertise.
melliotstudio.com 512-781-0224.
This show has been brought to you in part by the real estate pros at the Mallett Integrity Team. When you're looking to buy or sell, you need them on your side. Why settle for less when you can have real estate done right? Give them a call at 512-829-2062 or get more info at mallettintegrityteam.com.
You know you like us, so go now to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a review. Why don't ya? We love your feedback and comments. Email us at mallettandmichelle@gmail.com.
Thanks for putting up with us.